Hello and welcome to this 2013 qualitative discussion. I'm delighted to be joined by Steve August. Steve, would you like to give yourself a quick introduction first of all?
Thanks, Jack. Yes, Steve August. I'm the founder and CEO of Revelation. Revelation is a provider of in-the-moment mobile and web qualitative research technology, and we are founded in 2007. We're based in Portland, Oregon, and are used by many companies, from the world's largest research companies and consumer goods companies around the world, to help them get the ground truth on their consumer experiences.
You could kind of tell me your thoughts on the pros and cons of these kind of where Qual's going really in these new evolving methodologies.
Yeah. So there's a number of trends that are impacting qualitative research, and a lot of them have to do with technology and the opportunities that technology gives us. From one perspective, it's about how does technology enable traditional qualitative approaches. So how do we fulfill that mission of understanding people to answer business questions, and how do we get closer to those moments of understanding? So the web and mobile are two technologies that have really impacted researchers' abilities to reach into the experiences and lives of people everywhere. And it's a really amazing time to be in qualitative research. We have a reach into consumer experiences that we just never have had in history, really, when you think about it. And so a lot of the one stream of the what's happening in qualitative methodology is reacting and taking advantage of these opportunities. So if we have a mobile enabled participant who can capture that moment of decision, that moment of behavior, the moment of emotion, and get it very close in the moment that it happens, then we get a more natural, a more rich, and a more accurate insight into what's truly going on. And that's been a big part of what's been happening with Qual. Now, on the other side is where Qual fits in with everything else. Because technology's been impacting all parts of research. It's not just been Qual or Quant. It's been really striking to see how the tenets and ideas of business intelligence, where we have a lot of data, we have to make sense of it. That data, a lot of it's structured and coming from lots of different sources, has to be pulled together and made the story pulled out of it. And qualitative is not only evolving on its own as a standalone offering, but really as how does this fit into the world where there's all of this potential information in social media or off-mobile behavior or passive detection. How is that then triangulated and correlated with the story that's coming from those sources, and what can qualitative fill in that picture? And the way we look at it is that ultimately those sources of what you would call big data, and there's so many different variations of that, but ultimately things that are data that is flowing into decision makers, is they tend to give you a map of what's going on. They point out, okay, this phenomenon is happening, this behavior is happening on this scale. They are less robust at being able to tell you why that's happening. And so knowing something is happening is just one part of the puzzle. Where people can start making decisions is when they know why it's happening. Because until you know why something's happening, why a behavior or a brand association or anything like that is happening, once you know why it's happening, that's when you can start doing things about it. And that's why I think that qualitative research, as it continues to evolve, will still be very much a really important component of how decision makers have to get the understanding they need to make a decision.
Where you thought the kind of immediate future, and then maybe past that for Qual lies.
So the immediate future for Qual is that it's a lot of what I described, in the sense that right now people are still getting their heads around what the latest wave of technology, web and mobile, can enable. There's still, if you look at where the money is spent in qualitative research, overwhelmingly it's still spent on face-to-face interactions. That the digital side of Qual is still a very small portion of the research that gets done. And I think even now, I think the evolution is really about people becoming comfortable enough and aware enough to take on and understand the benefits that they're getting from the advanced tool sets that the technology provides. So, we see it coming in a number of different ways. One, we see whole projects being executed without any face-to-face interaction, or we see a hybrid of people leveraging the tools from both sides. So mobile is great for in the moment, so people use that as a lead-in to a face-to-face, or vice versa. They'll do a face-to-face, give people a product, or see what transpires afterwards. So there's right in the immediate future is really the increased use, decreased understanding, and the increased ability for people to utilize the tool to get the better insight.
And if we could just talk about the event itself briefly.
It's hard to go wrong at an ESOMAR Qual conference if you're a qualitative research geek, and I think even if you're in the business of understanding people who make business decisions. It's one of my favorite conferences in that it is focused on the qualitative side, whereas in some conferences qualitative is just a subset of the story. And what I see in this conference is the embracing of some of the themes that I just talked about. Is where does Qual fit into big data? Where does Qual fit in the world that is increasingly global and that business has to be conducted globally? In fact, one of the sessions that I'm leading is on this idea of what we call it's a hyper-local, micro-global, in the sense that the imperative to be able to act globally but really have that local understanding is really important. And so how do you balance that in the realities of a world of limited resources and limited time frames? So I'm really looking forward to this conference on a number of different levels.
Steve, thank you very much for joining me. I look forward to hearing your discussion.
Thanks, Jack. Look forward to seeing you there.
Cheers, Steve.